do you think the findings on the molecular mechanistic association between atrial fibrillation and diabetes would influence future practice, including potential pharmaceutical development?
Well, that's a really key question. I need to say that I have a commercial interest in developing CHEM kinase inhibitors as drugs, so that's my disclosure. Nevertheless, there's a mounting evidence from multiple sources and models that hyperactivation of CHEM kinase is one important molecular pathway for driving atrial fibrillation. I think that the field is one that really needs deep molecular and mechanistic understanding, and drugs that go beyond blocking particular ion channels or therapies that do more than modify substrate. I think CHEM kinase is appealing because it does all of those things, and the early results suggest CHEM kinase inhibition might be an effective therapy for preventing early and late manifestations of atrial fibrillation.
As AF and heart failure are often complicated by comorbidities, do you think CHEMK2 inhibition is the most critical pathway involved in these relevant disorders, or could there be other candidate pathways?
The most important is hard to say, but CHEM kinase is appealing as an area to investigate and also as a potential therapeutic target, in my opinion, because CHEM kinase is activated in both atrial fibrillation and in heart failure, and it shares some common targets, a key one being making the ryanodine receptors extra leaky of calcium. This is a demonstrated mechanism for contributing to heart failure, atrial fibrillation, and even the ventricular arrhythmias that arise in heart failure.
Do you think there are potential differences in signaling between type 1 and type 2 diabetes in the underlying pathophysiological cause?
I think almost certainly there will be differences between type 1 and type 2 diabetes as they are in many ways different diseases, although they share some fundamental underpinnings, including hyperglycemia and abnormalities in the insulin signaling system. Importantly, we and others have found that CHEM kinase is activated in diabetes. One possible mechanism, and the one that we're digging into, is by oxidizing CHEM kinase. We see that this is important in both type 1 and type 2 models of diabetes. And so we think that CHEM kinase inhibition is a promising therapy for some of the cardiac manifestations of diabetic heart disease, including arrhythmias.